had had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, you know. Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die, yo?" Reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Tune in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Yard. It was a big bright white light is what it was. Now, what the big bright white was, I couldn't actually tell you, but it didn't really look like a UFO. It looked more like, well, it kind of sounded more like, well, a helicopter spotlight. You know, you hear that in the background. So maybe, hey Jay, how you doing, man? Maybe they were raiding the guy's backyard. I really don't know, but it did sound like a helicopter.
And you weren't in the studio when I came in, and you were still off and you were talking. So I don't know how much everybody missed, but you learned.
Oh well, thank you. Oh, that's right. Huh? I was doing music and stuff. I forgot. Thanks for bringing me in. It was TJ's paying attention. I'm off in Neverland. Well,
I
because
just got home.
because we're playing with the Rumble and the Roku and all. It's a little weird. And Rumble is Rumble. I like Rumble. We got a lot of followers on Rumble these days. We're big 12 or something. No, it's no. Actually, it's what's weird is I wish our people would click subscribe or like, because I notice we're getting pretty few listeners over there. I mean, pretty good amount of listeners over there now. But I don't think there really is more than 12 people following the page. Now, granted, the page was being used for a while. I think it got up to like 500, and then we quit using it for like a year, and now we're using it again. So I guess it could be just a tad bit on the confusing side if you're watching us from that point of view. What's that, Christine? We're going to talk about a couple things tonight, mainly about stuff inside your head, stuff that goes on. At least you think inside your head. Well, dreams are an interesting thing, and we barely got to touching dreams last week, so I want to talk a little bit more about it. And I kind of want to talk about what actually goes on in an alien abduction. I mean, really, what goes on? So what can you expect? Like chocolate candy and things like that. Yeah, you just keep believing that. Well, no, I'm just saying it's no one really talks about because they don't like to talk about it. It's putting them on themselves on the spot.
Well, it's scary for most people. They're scared out of their minds throughout the entire ordeal, whether it's a MyLabs or an actual alien abduction.
Jimmy Lee, I mean, it's scary stuff.
So what is the first? What happens? What is the beginning? I mean, besides obviously you see the UFO, what's the first thing that happens?
Cool. You know, it's interesting to me. So I guess we can start. We'll clarify a couple things for the because abductees are usually newbies anyway. So let's say, in the old days, you used to hear all the time people, oh, I saw those deer, and then I lost like 5 hours. Oh, I saw that owl, and I had missing time. That's just weird.
Now the owl thing is kind of new. I've been researching this stuff since I was 11.
40 years.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 4 years. But the owl thing is only like within the last 10 or 15, maybe 20 years. The only thing I can think of is that their faces or their eyes are so owl-like because they have, like we said on the last show, we talked about the contact lenses. They have regular eyes and color underneath, regular irises and a color part and a white part or a green part, whatever. But their eyes are huge, so it's like the size of an owl.
Yeah, but that's not what these are. What this is. So in the old days, they used to call them cover memories. That's what they called them. Oh, I saw the big 5-foot owl standing in the weeds. Well, you could portray it as an alien, but most people just said it was a cover memory, so that whatever you actually saw, instead of what you actually saw, you saw that. Same thing with deer standing at the end of the road, just weird, or certain types of birds hanging out on your windows, just sitting there staring at you and stuff like that. None of it was actually real. It was probably some leftover remnants in your brain somewhere that remade it. But the reason I bring it up is because we don't believe those are cover memories anymore. It's not what we think they are. We actually think they're trigger memories. See, there's a difference. So a cover memory means that this owl or this deer or this raccoon or whatever the hell it might have been, it could have even been what do you call it? Relative. Could be that, or it could be your spirit guide. It could have been any of that stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, your spirit animal. True. Yeah.
Yeah. So it could be so it could be something along those lines, and still be an extraterrestrial. It's whatever it is that you're going to identify with, is what it is. So you look at this. So in the old days, they said, they were using that to cover up the event. No, that's not what they were doing. If they wanted to cover up the event, they wouldn't have let you see the damn thing.
Yeah, you'd have been unconscious the whole time.
Yeah, so these are trigger memories. These are things less. By the way, flying saucers are trigger memories, or UFOs are trigger memories. That's what they are. So ET doesn't have to let you see their craft. You notice nobody in Washington, D.C. can see one of the damn things. I don't see nobody in New York looking at them right now. So if they don't want to be seen, they don't have to be seen. So if they are being seen, it's because they want you to see them. Or we usually say it's either you got picked up or put back. Usually it's when you're getting put back is when you get to see them. It's to let you know something happened to you, to see if you can handle this, to see how this is going to change who and what you are. That's what this is about. And that's why they're trigger memories and not cover memories. Still today, I was talking to some MUFON people the other day. Oh, no, Joe, they're cover memories, man. They're cover memories, man. And then when I explained what a trigger memory was, they were like, oh, but that makes more sense. Of course it makes more sense because that's what's going on. They're not trying to hide from us. They don't have to use any of that. They don't want you to remember them. They don't have to use any of that shit. They just wipe your memory.
But they are. I mean, if they weren't trying to hide, we'd know about them. They'd be all over the news. We'd know about the 4 or 5 races that are here, and they'd have a public presence. So for whatever reasons, they have some ulterior motives, which is why they stay in the shadows.
Because they're so pretty.
Yeah,
when you see them.
That's what they say about the Arcturians, the tall whites, that they're, exceptionally good-looking people.
Yeah, I believe that about as far as I can throw you. What they probably look like is the 3 fates. If anybody don't know what the three fates are, I can tell you to look it up. What is this? Cloth? I don't even remember the names. I remember Clothoth is one of them, which was the spinner, or the one that created the fates. The fates that created back in the day, they used to spin on a wheel and they would create your fate.
Yeah,
And that's
it was
how.
like
And
a loom.
yeah,
It was a magical loom that
it was a
spun
magical
the
loom.
events
Yeah,
of your life.
and there was three fates that worked it. Yes, actually, I think there was one fate that worked, and the other two just were like there. But the point is such an ass. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody's just being an ass in Messenger. The point being is these are waking memories. These are memories they want you to remember, or they wouldn't give you things that make you question. So you see in the old days you're driving up the side of Mount St. Helen, and all of a sudden there's just three deer standing, really looking at you, winking their eyes, not moving, not worried about your lights, not even worried about your car, just standing there winking their eyes at you, looking around, not even trying to graze. And even though there's grass on both sides, they're just standing there looking at you, winking their eyes. And then you like turn around and you look somewhere and then they're gone. Yes, that's what they're talking about. Or owls that come sit on your porches, or owls that sit in your trees. Yeah, this is all stuff to let you know something just happened to you. What do you mean? Why did we figure out? Because it was pretty blatantly easy to figure out. Because like everything,
But also
ufology gets stuck.
In the past, the experiencers were the main ingredient was lost time. They all lost a significant amount of time, hours to sometimes even days with Travis Walton, and so the Greys, whoever's abducting us, they got hit. They got onto the clue that we were experiencing this lost time as a symptom. So that's why they now have the trigger and other memories, the cover memories and the trigger memories, so that it masks the symptoms that tell you you've been abducted, whether there's marks on your body or lost time or whatever the other ingredients are.
Well, but see, that's the thing. They don't really need to if they don't want to. So since about 94, they don't have to do lost time or any of that. I mean, they've been doing loop memories now for probably, this is 24, for at least 30 or 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And loop memories is just they find something that you do repetitively and they loop it, and that's what you think you've done. And as far as letting you see anything, they don't have to let you see anything. If they don't want you to see something, you don't have to see it. And they can wipe anything from your brain. The ones that are sloppy are the government, not the aliens. See, that was another thing that ufology had a hard time dealing with. They kept flopping the two together. They were taking sloppy cover memories for military abductions and trying to lump them in to alien abductions, which are two entirely different things. The aliens don't have to be all that sloppy. If they don't want to be, they don't have to be. Now, granted, they used to like to take you for hours on end and sometimes days on end. Now they still do. It's just you don't know now. They just changed the way they do it. They pull you slightly out of our dimension. So time actually.
It's kind of like a time leap. Like they take you out at a specific moment, and they can have you for an hour or days or weeks, and then put you back at that exact precise moment that they took you. So there's no lost time, no lost memory. You may have been gone from the planet for a year and not even know it.
Yeah, it's strange. No, Bruce, we got a couple of cases real quick before we move on to the next thing. We're going back. What is this? So this is 92, 93, 94. I think it was 93 actually. So I get a call from contactee in Pensacola, Florida. Actually, right outside of Pensacola. It's a husband and wife. Both of them are contactees. And so we drive down and we spend the weekend with them. And on Sunday night, we all went out to a really nice restaurant and had a really nice dinner, steak and lobster, the whole nine yards. What Chris? No, I wasn't working for you on that. Well, actually, I might have been, but anyway, the whole 9 yards. And then, so at midnight, we took some pictures. Actually, we had the girl walking around with the camera take some pictures. I know people before they invented a cell phone. Shut up. Anyway, they took some pictures and we bought the pictures, and they took some, we took some. So we get back to the hotel. It's about 2 a.m. I'm just getting snuggled in, going to sleep. You know, I knew because Pensacola's not that far a drive from where I used to live in Louisiana. It's about 2.5 hours. So I'm getting all comfortable. Man, I'm just sleeping real hard. And about 6:30, my phone on the hotel starts ringing because my cell phone was off. And actually, it was anyway. It was just like ringing. I'm like, what the fuck? So I answered the phone. I was kind of pissed when I answered the phone. You know, I was like, who the hell is this calling me at 6:30 in the morning? And they just both are screaming in the phone at the top of their lungs. And I'm like, what? Yeah, like, you gotta come right now. And we don't want to leave because, you know, you got to come right now. I said, okay. So I threw on some jeans and a shirt, grabbed the boss lady, threw on some jeans on her and a shirt, got in the car, drove down there. Told the hotel people we might not be checking out till Tuesday. So we get there. I pull up, and this guy standing in the doorway with his big brown beard, like to here, mustache and all. And I'm like, who the hell is this guy? So I walk up to introduce myself. When I got up close enough, I realized who it was. Now you have to remember, this guy was clean shaven that night. No beard, no mustache, clean shaven. Now he's got he's got a beard like this. This is like, we're talking 3-4 months worth of growth.
So that long, that's more than 3 or 4 months.
That's what I'm saying. But we're going to be nice. So his old lady comes out, and she's got hair on her legs, not hair. We're talking 3-inch long. That's like a year's of growth. So regardless what happened, and the bitch part about this is not only were there other witnesses, the other people who seen them during the day when we were the 2 days we were together, but we had pictures, not just from that night, but from the whole weekend. So what the hell? I mean, it was like, what the hell? And what do you do with that? Now, what does that mean to anybody? I mean, so I remember talking to Anders at MUFON about it. He's like, well, what do you do with this? And I'm like, I don't know. What do you do with this? Yeah, I mean, we made it public, but what did making it public mean? Nothing. Because without the government getting involved, it meant nothing.
Can you share some of those pictures now, like the before and after? Do you have of them?
Not on this computer. I don't. I have one on the other ones, but I'm actually on my little baby broadcast computer. I'm sorry, guys. I only use this computer to broadcast on. It has nothing on it. It's got an empty. It's the only computer in the entire house with an empty hard drive. I know. But now Jay said that, I'll shift some stuff over. Well, who is this creature? It is an alien. Just came up in the house and then it disappeared. Gee, people, that is an alien.
Teleportation technology at its finest.
Just fucking scary ass alien is what that was. No, I didn't actually say the word. But anyway, getting back to what we were talking about. So here you go. All of this now. Some of this stuff went to MUFON, which we never seen again, by the way. Some of it we kept. Well, I always keep a little stuff for myself because I learned early on with MUFON not to trust them, because everything we sent to them we never seen again. It was like the black hole of Calcutta. It's why we ended up leaving eventually.
Yeah, they're one of those organizations. You submit a story or
we were submitting reports like this, 300 pages and shit.
Well, yeah, but they have those clauses in any agreements when you give them something that, you know, anything you give them becomes theirs and solely theirs.
Yeah, and being who I was working for them in research and investigations, I really didn't have a problem with it because I always made a copy for myself anyway, but not always, but most of the time. It's but the fact of the matter is nobody was commenting on it anywhere. And then when I'd run into Walter, somebody I'd ask him, or John, and he's like, I don't know. I've never seen it. Never came across my desk. I'm like, really? I remember, just getting off track for a minute. I remember, so Linda and I, when we had the Gulf Breeze experience, we wrote a letter to MUFON. Just a letter. You know, it was, 4 or 5 pages long, outlining the experience. So this is yo-yos in there. All right, rocking well, back and back, alien. Anyway, so we wrote this letter, and we never heard anything back. Now we ran into Walter Anders in Laughlin, Nevada, and Linda asked him about it. He said I'd never seen it. About a year and a half after that, it shows up at a house like 4 houses from where I originally lived, because after the storm and all, we moved to a couple of places, upgraded actually. And the letter shows up. completely scotch tape. The whole envelope is just scotch tape. Whoever tore it up. I mean, pieces like this, Jay, little tiny pieces.
Wow.
So when we took the letter out, the same thing had happened to all the pages. It was like laminated scotch tape paper.
Yeah.
Someone took the time and sat there and glued and taped each one of these pieces back together. I was stunned. I was like, what? So for the life of me, I couldn't figure this out. I said, somebody got this letter. Hey, man, who's that good looking fella? So anyway, I got hey, we always need good looking people on the radio network. Anyway, moving on. It's that's right with you, babe. And so anyway, you know, I was like, who would do some stupid shit like this? I mean, why even go to the? So wait, that means they tore whenever.
And then went, oh, wait a minute. And then got the scotch tape out.
I mean, this tape looked like, you know how tape changes colors, gets that kind of orange.
Yeah,
it looked
turns yellow over time.
So I'm like, they ripped it apart, and then immediately when they taped it back and stuck it in a drawer somewhere, I'm like, so that just, I just couldn't get past that. It just floored me. But getting back on, I just know people, this is real shit. I don't know why shit like this happens. I have a lot of weird stuff happen in my life. But anyway, getting back to the case we were talking about. So with this case in Gulf Breeze, it was just like, wow. So it was well documented that we had all this growth in this short amount of time. So then, and this Gulf Breeze is a very interesting place because a lot of shit happens down there. So then, I don't know, it was a year, 90, no, it's 96. It was a couple of years later. And we're next to Eglin Air Force Base. We were going on a trip to Eglin Air Force Base. And we get a call from somebody who knew was already down there. They said, Joe, I got to tell you about this, what happened to us. So they stayed at the same hotel we all stayed, which is a thing we do down there. But anyway, so they're at their hotel, which is on the back bay, looking at looking at the bay and then looking at the Gulf. But it's the bay, and then the park and the military base, then the Gulf, and it's just in that way. You can see it. And they got little drone, they got little radar tower things, you know, the white dome looking things all over the place. So they got them on the beach and all watching for people coming in and stuff. So. But you can see all that. So these people, because they were going to meet us out there around 2:00 in the morning, so they came up. They got up there and they were in their hotel. So, and we, you know, one of the first things we teach anybody who does investigation work is keep track of time. Always keep track of time. Write it down. 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 Keep track of time.
That's what police officers do. Whenever they pull over a car, they write down exactly what time they stopped.
Yeah, because it comes in important in this. So anyway. They're getting ready to leave to go out to the beach. Now, according to them, it's about 12 to 14 minutes to the top of the hour, which was 11 o'clock. So they followed around. They got some stuff together, and they got some chairs and some binoculars, cameras. Went and had to make 2 trips to the car, got everything in the car, and then packed up and closed. And they said it was about 8 minutes till now. The beach is, the park is literally 2 miles from where they're at. So they left there. They stopped at the local 7-Eleven. It's about 6 minutes till, he said 5 or 6 minutes till he noticed it was shift change. And they had all this equipment on them, right? So everybody's asking, what are you doing? Oh, we're going looking for UFOs. So it was a big conversation. So later on, what was great, because when we called, did you remember these people? Of course they did because of the conversation. So there was 4 people there, though, because it was shift change. So, you know, it's 11 o'clock straight up. So then they go out to the park. They park their car on the beach, 11 o'clock. Maybe a little after. They go out on the beach, they do their thing. They had some weird events at night. We're not going to get into that because it would drag this out too far. So they get back in their car and they drive home. They drive to the hotel and they drive home. So about a day or 2 after they get home, his wife's cleaning out the car, sticks her hand in between the seats and pulls out a ticket. They had gotten a no parking ticket while they were parked where they were parked, right? So wait a minute. So he calls me up. He said, Joe, I got a ticket. It says, he says it's like at 10 o'clock. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, Joe, 10 o'clock is in my hotel. He said, I want you to handle this for me because I find this a little bit odd because you got the ticket. So I called up the police department and said, hey, we got a ticket out on the beach at 10 o'clock. I said, we weren't even on the beach at 10 o'clock. We didn't go to 11. And the girl says, well, maybe it's a mistake. And I see, so she calls dispatch. Dispatch says, no, it was 10 o'clock. Well, wait a minute now. according to everybody, they were still in their hotel at 10 o'clock, but yet the police officer who wrote the ticket and the dispatcher both have him there at 10 o'clock. Now, that car was supposed to be in that parking lot at 10 o'clock at the hotel. So no one thought about it. So I called the hotel lady up and I said, could you look at something before y'all get rid of the tape? Because she told me how long they kept it for. And she goes, well, I'll go take a look. I'll go take a look. And sure enough, in 10 o'clock, the car wasn't there. But you don't see anybody leaving the room. You don't see the car leaving. You don't see anything. It's just like, it's almost like it's a glitch in the tape. It's there, it's gone, it's back. Just like that. There, it's gone, it's back.
And you don't have a copy of that, huh?
No. Well, no, we don't have a copy of that. But we got something probably.
I do have a degree in video. If you have an original copy of that, I can tell you if there's if it's been edited or glitched.
So, but the weird part was, having the police officer saying what time it was, and having so you've got the police officer, the dispatcher, and now the hotel. So you got 3 different witnesses, but no one else saw them, and they don't remember seeing anybody else. But then, of course, at 11 o'clock when they left, the girl at the front desk remember seeing them driving out. The people at the store remembered seeing them. So they actually made contact with several people. So what happened? There's an hour glitch there. What's that hour glitch? Is it forward, backward, sideways? What was that? What was in that glitch? And they both refused to be hypnotized. Both.
Well, if it was a UFO, would they be able to somehow affect the time continuum, the timeline, and make it?
Oh yeah, they just took them and put them back.
But I mean, wouldn't they have to do that to the whole planet?
No, they just no. So if and I'm not a physicist, but you know what? I did bring this up, guys and girls. If you want to hear an educated view on this, I actually talked with Neil deGrasse Tyson and Michio Kaku. So what we think,
both physicists,
yeah. So what we think is that theoretical physicists what they think is they pull you sideways out of our time and make like a bubble, and that's where you are the entire time. And when they're done, the bubble, when they collapse it back in, it pushes you back into this time. But sometimes it's not perfect. Sometimes it's right on the money. Sometimes it's 10 minutes before. Sometimes it's 10 minutes after. So it glitches like these weird glitches until you pop back together, kind of like the Matrix.
So is it a technology thing or
it's a technology thing? Yeah. Well, it's a technology. Let me put it this way: as far as we and you and I and the alien down there can understand it, it's a technology thing. Whether they can do it through some kind of mental ability,
is it mind power, or is it they have like a device?
Somehow or another, the reptilians and humans are now doing it too. So, which means the Greys either showed them or are doing it for them. So that's a whole other thing.
Or they got a piece of the technology that does it.
Or they got a piece of
technology. Maybe they got a hold of it.
So what gets me about this, and this shows you how dumb some researchers are in this field. So this was a direct reaction to us, to the researcher. Remember how we tracked people through what? Missing time, missing places, sand in their cars. That's how we were tracking them. Yeah. That's how we learned to track them, and we learned a lot doing that. And all of a sudden, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. The alien said, "You know what? We're not going to do that anymore. There's no reason to let you see people out of time and sync. We can just pop you back in when we want." And since then, it's been and going to that where they loop memories has made life really hard, because it's hard to find that memory in your head now. So, I asked Jay I stopped and got a hot dog at wherever on my way home. I do it every day. Well, screwed. We're screwed. We're not getting no memory out of you, even because that's the memory they put in the place of the abduction.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain is never going to question that.
Yeah. So what they probably do with a lot of people, especially commuters, is that drive to work. You got a 2-hour drive to work. There's your cover up right there.
Yeah. And from time to time, we get lucky. The way we found it out was in a couple of cases, like one lady used to stop every morning, get a hot. She was pregnant, a nurse actually. And she's pregnant. She stopped and get these nasty, funky hot dogs. She was describing. I said, "Girl, you're lucky that baby even made it to term." I mean, these things are horrifically bad for you, man. But anyway, getting back to what we're talking about. So she's had the baby. Oh yeah, well, that's true. But she had the baby. Baby's about a year old, and she remembers that morning stopping and getting one of them nasty, horrific hot dogs. Oh, guess what? First off, the stand was closed, and she was no longer eating it because she was no longer pregnant and had the craving. And so she calls me. She says, "What the fuck is that, Joe?" And I said, "I think I know what it is." And then because we'd had some other weird, strange, out of sync time things.
Yeah.
Where things were, what's like the one we were just talking about in Golf Breeze with the car. That's another one. It just poof, poof, poof. And, there's no explanation for it. There's no explanation for the girl with the hair in her leg or the guy with the beard. All we know is they were there and this time sync with you and I, and then they were out of it. And also, who turned me on to this? Jim Sparks. Even the poor bastard never knew he did. Him and I were having conversations, and he's supposedly remembers more about his abductions than anybody else singly on the planet. So, and he remembered a lot of stuff. But so I started asking, we were on the air when I said, "Well, Jim, let me get this right." I said, "You think what, 2-3 times a month?" He said, "Yeah, probably 4 times, probably, and they may keep me a week sometimes." So I started doing the math. And I said, "Well, that's like, I don't know, 70 days a year, 80 days." I said, "Do you remember that much stuff in your head?" And he looked at like, "Well, what do you mean?" "Well, 80 days is a long time, man. I mean, you'd remember some stuff, wouldn't you?"
I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, and I don't ever eat breakfast.
Yeah, but that's because no alien was feeding it to you. I guarantee the alien was feeding it to you. You'd remember every damn thing you had for breakfast. So he was like, and I said, "So you don't remember like hanging out with the aliens, hanging out with other humans, chilling?" No, he didn't remember anything like that. So it got me to thinking, they must take them on board, knock their asses out when they're not using them. Now we know it's a little bit different because of the big ships, but still, it got me thinking this far.
They could easily knock us unconscious without sedatives, just with their mind powers.
Yeah, they can.
They could easily implant any kind of memories or information they needed, and then wake us back up, or just leave and let us wake up on our own.
But it made me realize that they are taking people far more hours than we realize. I mean, they're really, some people maybe, that's why some people are so tired. Some people may be seeing 10, 15, 20 hours a week, every week. When you're going through certain periods with them and working with them in certain things, you actually be being taken a lot.
Well, that also is a symptom of abduction, is that you say you got 8 hours of sleep, yet you are exhausted.
Now you're exhausted.
If you've actually been up for 26 hours, it only got 8 hours. So,
Jamie, they like people named Leah for some reason. I don't know what the hell that's about. Leah and Martha. Oh, man, they like them people a lot. I don't know what it is. Makes sense they just like to probe them. What can I tell you?
It feels like I never actually rest. Like my body might fall asleep sometimes, but whenever I go to sleep, I wake up somewhere else, or it's like I'm just as lucid as I am now in whatever dream state I'm in. And so when I wake up in this reality, I'm exhausted. Like I feel like my brain never goes to sleep.
Because you got to make your brain, you're not getting proper REM sleep because your brain is racing on other adventures.
Yeah, it feels like I just go somewhere else.
And you do in a sense, unless it's aliens, and then you're going for real. It doesn't make any difference. It's but they have drugs they give us that we stay lucid and healthy, and it's another funny thing when you hear contactees talk about being on board the ships. A lot of times they don't seem to need sleep the way we do here. They can be up for days on end. It doesn't seem to bother them that whatever they're drinking.
Well, if you're on that ship in a time bubble, then time may not have. It may have a different effect on you. You like we said earlier, you could be, taken at one instant, gone for days, and then returned at that same instant. At that instant, you think you've only been awake for 18 hours, but really you've been gone for 4 days, and the last 3 you're up the whole time, not knowing that. And then when you do wake up, you haven't had any sleep, so you think you slept, but your body knows it hasn't, and it will eventually, like Leah said, your body will shut itself off when it is that exhausted.
Well, Chris, I agree.
My body gets.
Yeah. I mean, I have it too, especially when I do, Joe show and Jeff show. I'm up from 5:30 till 1. A lot of times I zone out at the last hour. I literally just, my body shuts off, and then I wake up and the whole studio is empty. I'm like, where'd everybody go?
Where'd everybody go? I know, I was just talking a minute ago.
Like, I feel like my brain has like a limit to how much exertion it can go through, and then I just end up, I don't know, feeling not brain dead, but just like I just don't want to think about stuff anymore. I don't even want to play video games sometimes because it feels mentally exhausting.
Well, in a lot of ways it is.
Yeah.
It's so, but there's a couple of things that causes stuff like that. I mean, some of it has to do with being taken and things like that. Some of it is that if, like when I was young, when I used to smoke a lot of pot, if I didn't smoke, my brain was shh. And I asked my doctor about that one time. I said, "What is it, doc?" I said, "Is it the addiction?" He said, "Well, pot's not really addictive." He said, "That's not what it is." He said, "You just have a really active brain, and you were just using the alcohol." Because I asked him because I never could understand why my tolerance for alcohol was so high. And that's what the doctor told me. He said, "Your metabolism." He said, "Joe, your average body temperature is 101.1." He said, regular humans are 98.8. He said, "Come on."
Right.
He said, "You just." Because some of us tend to run a little hotter.
Yeah.
And
my temperature is usually like just under 98. It's like 97.9 a lot of the times.
Yeah,
But
it varies.
Some are lower and some are higher.
Yeah.
As long as you don't get to 104, you're okay. 104 is when your brain starts cooking.
Yeah, well, the doctor cracks me up because he says, one day, this is a while back, he goes, he said, one day you'll start losing your hair and then all that heat will get out your head, so it'll drop down to probably normal. I was like, Doc, do you want me just to reach over there and slap your dumb ass? I mean, I couldn't even believe he said that. Or she said that, actually. I got a female doctor. I was like, get the hell out of here, man. Yes, Chris, I do have a female doctor. Why? You don't like lady doctors? I'll talk to my doctor about anything. She's good. Yeah, she don't care. That's what she's there for. It's the truth of the matter is, really, a good friend of mine who started out as a nurse ended up being a doctor, a serious doctor, and then she had 2 PhDs on top of that. And so, and her and I, when we talk, she's always right on the money when I go see my local doctor. So I'm like, I want somebody like her as my doctor. So I found me somebody like her. Was that Chris? No, she's a good friend of mine. Yeah, her name is Zuby. Yes. Yeah, Zuby. She's from
Who are you answering? Like what platform? Where are you reading questions off of? From
Messenger.
Listeners or
just from my
Messenger.
It's from my Messenger. See, because Messenger for me is Pal Talk. So in the old days we were on Yahoo Chat, and then we moved to Fire Talk, and then from Fire Talk we moved to Pal Talk. When we moved to Pal Talk,
a lot of
started using
Messenger windows.
Yeah, and I still keep Pal Talk around, but when we started using Facebook, everybody just went to chat. They started using chat, so the Messenger chat.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they make little groups and they do it like that, but most of the time they're just listening and hitting me up with my Messenger. It's and I bitch at them all the time about coming in the room, and every now and then somebody will mosey up in the room, but most of the time they're like, nope.
What does it mean when your dreams, when you can feel things in your dreams, like you can feel pain or hunger or wetness or the heat or cold, or you can feel
most dreams are meant to be as life in real life like as possible. Most of the time you dream about what happened in the last couple of days or that day, strange events that happen that your brain needs to reconcile with, and that's what most dreams are about. So it has to feel real to you if you become lucid. Otherwise, it doesn't have it doesn't work. The effects aren't there.
Yeah, or you're there in the water standing there.
I want to tell you, Joe, what happened in my dream recently. Like I've had dreams since that one dream, but there's this one particular dream I had like a few days ago that I woke up in tears. I woke up petrified.
Well, dreams can be like that. Dreams can scare the living bejesus out of you. If they're dreams.
Yeah, which is why in most cases when we start REM sleep, our brain shuts off all the nerves to our muscles so we don't flop around and hurt ourselves in our dreams. Especially if we dream about running away from something or being chased.
In that particular dream, it felt like I was being constricted. Like I was in some type of stretcher that had my body I wasn't able to move my limbs.
It's called that is called night paralysis. I've experienced that.
No.
And,
This was in my dream. It was like I was in
well,
a
I've actually done.
hospital.
I've experienced that, like waking up and then you can't move and you try to scream. You can't make noise. It's the weird night paralysis. Really freaks
No, I
you
can
out.
make noise. Everyone can hear me. I
wow.
was awake in my dream. I was like talking to these people. And they were talking back to me. I could hear them. One of them gave me a shot with a syringe in the back of my head, and I felt it.
Oh wow.
Might be getting Millab. You might be the new Katarina Wilson. What's that? Yeah, Christopher. You remember Katarina Wilson? Yeah. Yeah. Leah don't know who Katarina Wilson is.
I don't either, actually.
Katarina Wilson is a military abductee who has retired. Now, I shouldn't even be using her name because a while back she had asked me if we'd take everything down. You got to remember, people, coming out as an abductee is hard because depending on where you are in life, people can use it to beat you up. You might be a doctor, you might be running for political office, or you might want to be in some position in a job or in a school or somewhere. And they're like, oh, well, no, you say aliens come take you, or government aliens come take you, or government comes take you. People might not give you that job. I know lots of people that's lost jobs over this. And I forgot his name now. Craig Jaycox. He was the first black contactee to ever come public. And I remember when he called me and asked me if we could take his stuff down because he couldn't get a job anywhere. Because every time
that's what I'm afraid of. Like, people are gonna start searching my name for jobs, and I'll be like, "Look at this person that isn't all there."
Well, somebody asked me about it because somebody was asking me about a job and said, "You believe in aliens?" I said, "No, I don't believe in aliens." He's like, "What?" But you hosted trust. I didn't say aliens weren't real. I said I don't believe in aliens.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. It's asking if I believe in them is like akin to, is it like a religious experience or something? Do I believe they exist? Which
That's
also
funny.
kind of implies the possibility that they don't exist. I always say no. I don't believe they exist. I know they exist.
Hey, I have the exact opposite response when I'm being interviewed about something or whatever. Like, I remember I was seeing a therapist, and one of the questionnaires on the getting to know you paper was like what do you believe in, what religion, whatever, basically like what faith do you follow and what do you believe in. And I was stumped. I was, I know what I believe in aliens, and it's funny because that I have the opposite response. Like I've seen one face to face, so I know that they're nobody would believe me just based off of my own testimony, but probably not. I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But
I get people give me shit about it from time to time, but it's hard, and it's why I tell abductees this all the time, contactees. The best way to deal with it is to defend yourself, to really educate yourself, so you can defend yourself when people ask you shit. Or tell you stuff, because to somebody who's uneducated in this subject matter, it's easy to beat up. There's a lot of facts out there now that beat people around.
I'm so naive and vulnerable. I'm an easy
that's what
target.
I'm saying. Well, that's what I'm saying though. That's why you have to educate yourself, because somebody gets hold to you, they'll tear your ass up, make you cry and shit. And I was at where was I? Dragon Con, or I was at one of the cons, and guy said, "Oh, crazy UFO guy." I said, "Yeah, who the hell is that?" And I'm looking around. He's talking about me, and I was like, "Oh, well, I don't know, crazy UFO guy." I said, So I walked up. So when you see him, introduce me. He starts laughing. I said, "What you laughing about?" He said, "Well, I'm talking about you." I said, "Oh." I said, "UFO guy." I said, "First off, I don't track UFOs. I track alien abductions. Much different thing." And he just looked at me like, "What?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "We leave the UFO tracking and MUFON I said to MUFON. So they've got something to do." I said, "We're only interested in things that people have actually seen or been in contact with." I said, "So before I make a fool out of you too bad." I said, "I've had lots of friends that are astronauts. I got friends that are in the Air Force and the Navy. I got friends in the military. I got friends in the government." I said, "No one denies that this is real. That's not what's going on anymore." I said, "What they're trying to tell us is, as subtly as they can, get ready. We're going to get open contact in the future.
Be prepared."
And he's like, well, no. I said, man, the government just came out publicly looking for more information on it. I said, because the government knows, but our government doesn't. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I said, our Congress and Senate doesn't know. I said, but there are people in there that know. I said, it's been compartmentalized for so long now that it's hard to get any information out.
Since at least the 50s, possibly even earlier.
And I said, something I didn't know when I first got in this field, because I didn't know anybody. I said, it takes time to get the whole picture. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I said, the longer I've been in the field, the more people I know. I said, now I know admirals and generals and colonels and all kind of sorts of people that work for Boeing and Lockheed. And, people who want to talk.
Bigelow?
Yeah, so yeah, big people too.
No, like Bigelow.
Bigelow, yeah, we know, yeah, Bigelow Aerospace. It's just Sarah, Nevada. It's just you make friends, So,
Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, I know a couple people at Lockheed. I know people at Los Alamos. It's just,
What's Skunk Works?
Skunk Works
is the top secret branch of Lockheed, which is now Lockheed Martin. They acquired Martin some years ago. But it's the top secret branch that produced the U-2, the SR-71, the F-117, the F-22, the F-35. Let's see, what else did they have done?
Isn't
just about
SR-71 a type of like high liability insurance?
Yeah, it's a high liability aircraft that still holds all the speed records. Yeah. Well, it holds I should say propelled speed records. The shuttle holds all the speed records.
Yeah, the shuttle goes pretty fast.
The
shuttle goes a little bit.
Especially when it lands. A few speed records coming in, man.
What is it doing? 18,000 miles an hour?
I know. I've heard them call it out from Mach 24 to Mach 31. So it's rolled out.
That's when it first bursts into the atmosphere, it's Mach 30. But when it hits the ground, it's like 19,000 miles an hour.
It was always fun to watch the shuttle, and we wondered how we got through only 2 explosions.
You wonder how, with that speed and that heat and that force, that the tires don't explode upon hitting the earth.
It was, that's why they took that extra lap to cool it off.
Yeah,
that longer lap to cool it off.
Do they have to land in like the middle of nowhere where it's like there's just tons of vast?
They have to land far enough away from inflammable objects so that they don't immediately burst into flame. The space shuttle skin, when it hits the ground, it's like almost the temperature of the skin of the sun.
No.
Yeah, it's that hot. They have to wait like 7 or 8 hours before they can even open the thing to get out of it. It's that hot.
Is it glowing like the sun?
The bottom of it is, for sure, yeah. If at night, you can see it glowing. Those tiles underneath, those heat tiles, they retain a lot of heat.
That's why. Which one was it? Challenger? Which one? Yeah, one of them blew up from the heat.
Challenger had one of the tiles was compromised and it exploded on re-entry.
Barry, you know what? That's true. And doing the whole thing, everybody was saying the same thing. Put on a suit, go inspect the craft, but nobody would for some reason or another.
Do you think
they had a
that
suit on board.
Abductees are being experimented on because of, I don't know. Do you think it has something to do with their soul, like whatever a soul? It has to do
with genetics. More to do with genetics. They've genetically enhanced the human species at least 7 times that we know of, maybe even more. So
now what it is how can I say this? So today, abductions on this planet would be an out of control experiment on for this reason. So whenever abduction started way back when they started, the Greys were taking gray contactees, humans were taking human contactees, reptilians were taking reptilian contactees. But since then, reptilian contactees have married and had babies with gray contactees. Gray contactees have married and had babies with human contactees.
I wonder what
contactees have married and had babies with of course gray contactees. So it's become this circle. Now it's all just melded together, and you now have a segment of our population, probably about 2 billion or so, that are just sleeping back and forth with each other because contactees tend to be drawn to contactees, which is unique in itself. It's a very strange thing. But now it's like it's an experiment they started that now has taken on its own life. And I think it's one of the reasons why they want to keep track of us, because if we were just the humans, descendants of the human aliens, and whatever mixed breed they put on our planet, which may or may not true. Some people say they didn't use a mix; they used their own a version of their own DNA. Maybe so, but regardless, the other aliens in the space would be like, no big deal. If it was just the reptilians, they'd be kind of like, no big. Even if it was just the Greys, which are powerful beings, they'd still be kind of like, the Greys are cool. But being the fact that we have all three and maybe one other makes us extremely dangerous. It means one day in our future, 100 million years, 5 million years, nobody really knows. It could be less than 10,000 years, and we could achieve a life.
If they let us go that far.
So what they're scared of is we might become a super omnipotent race. And if we're still the people we are today, we will just go through the universe conquering, destroying, blowing shit up, conquering, destroying, blowing more shit up. All the hard work they did to bring peace to us and the neighboring galaxies will be useless because man will be loose. And guess what? We like blowing shit up.
Something else I heard that they were concerned about. I don't know, maybe afraid of or concerned. Which one is better? But the rumor has it that they think that we possibly might also be able to emulate Frank Herbert's Quizette's Haderach powers by being anywhere we want to, everywhere we want to at once.
Oh no, they actually think that we can go beyond that. They think we'd be more like the Q, or even like the light beams. They really think now. When you get somebody to talk about this from the Greys, or the reptilians, it sounds like they're talking 100 million years, 500 million years. But people don't forget, the universe is already 14 billion years old, and it's planning on living a much longer period. So 500 million years to you and I sounds like a long time, but to the Greys who can live that long, it doesn't sound like shit.
Yeah, it's like
they're already a 1.5 billion year old race. Yeah, they're not. They're like, no. We need to know what the hell's going on here because in 1 billion years or so, we might be the guys running the show. And do you want us running the show? Not the race we are today, that's for sure. And we don't really show any signs of getting better. Lately, we've been showing signs of getting worse.
Did you see any of the images today from Israel?
No, I have not seen any news. Every time I turn on the news, I see who. So I've been trying to stay away from the news.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to save it because I'm gonna watch Thursday night. Watch a bunch of them. So when we get on the news Friday night, we can talk about.
Oh God, yeah. There's some disgusting things going on in the news. But anyway, the fact is that there were some protests in Israel. What do they call them? Ultra conservative or ultra something or other Jews. Ones with the curly locks on the side and the special hats.
Fundamental?
No, there's more than that.
Orthodox?
Yeah, but it was like extremely radical. And there was a whole bunch of them that were protesting peacefully. But the Israeli police and the military police were beating on them to break them up and get them out of because what they had done is broken through a barrier they weren't supposed to go through, and they were disturbing the peace. But here is Israel at war with a mortal enemy, and now they're beating the crap out of their own citizens who are protesting that don't want to go for the draft.
Yeah, because the war, the peace treaty is supposed to be taking effect.
But Hamas hasn't sent any representatives, and there's nobody going. But they were fighting over the war. That's what this protest was about. They didn't want to be drafted to go fight in this war, and they were getting beaten up in the midst of a war. I mean, it seemed very sad and ironic.
Stephanie, I don't think the aliens would give a shit.
But that's why we can't rule the planet. It's because we can't even rule ourselves. I mean, just look at how we act as we're
So one thing that these other races that we've been talking about have in common is they're a united species. They're not a divided like we are. No, with the reptilians. Well, with the Greys, we know there's 4 or 5 varieties of the Greys. But the reptilians, there seems to be a dozen or more types. We call them tribes, whatever you want to call them. But there seems to be quite a few of them. And they're all united. They're different, but they're all united.
It's a case system like India, but they are a united species. It's not. There's not multiple governments.
People have small local thoughts. Like it's difficult for people to think outside of their 10-mile radius of life. You know, they don't think about what's going on outside of their own bubble. And you have a lot of different bubbles, and not many of them penetrate into each other. And, you know, I think it takes a much larger thought process to think globally, and then even more so to think galactically, than a lot of people have given themselves the opportunity to even fathom, because they're too stuck on how are they going to get to work, how are they going to get their kids to school,
Yeah, how does my hair look?
Right, I need to go get my hair done, I need to go buy these new shoes, and it's all like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like too many people think big. And so how are they supposed to think about uniting when they can't even think outside of their own household?
Which is one of the main points that some of these societies, these advanced societies, they have the technology that you don't want for anything. So if you desire to have some sort of special vehicle in an advanced society like the Star Trek type society, you could just, you know, put it in a machine and the machine will build for you. It may take the machine 3 months to make the car for you, or you want a special kind of pair of shoes. You program it into the machine, into the replicator, and it may take an hour, but in an hour you have those shoes.
Wasn't Elon Musk's Neuralink kind of supposed to be like how people would download like programs from the Matrix where they all of a sudden knew kung fu, or like they knew how to speak a new language?
No, it was more the ability to control like the interface with your computer, interface with your phone without.
So it's not like download data into your brain.
No, it wasn't.
Well,
wasn't
right now, what it's being used for is to help people who are paraplegic to be able to speak,
have bionic limbs
and do stuff.
Operate,
they can do
limbs.
stuff. They can. It's helping with a lot of things. So it's going to take you know, in another 30 years or 10 years, paraplegics won't be like we think of them today. They'll be able to move around and become part of society.
They'll be like Steve Austin. They'll look 100% whole, but their parts are replacements.
Stone Cold Steve Austin?
No, Steve Austin, the $6 million man who had lost his legs, his right arm, and his left eyeball, and they were replaced with electronic devices that mimicked precisely how his original body parts looked.
Yes, Steve Austin. Oh, you know who I seen? I seen the new Bionic Woman yesterday.
The role.
Like the actress or the show?
Yeah. I seen the new Bionic Woman a couple of nights ago, which was.
Oh, I don't watch TV, so
there was a second attempt at the Bionic Woman. It wasn't that great, but it didn't suck. But it wasn't that great.
It's about as good as the whole.
Eventually, Steve Wahlberg is trying to get a $6 billion man movie going where he will play Steve Austin.
I'm Steve Austin. Stone Cold. No, this guy would kick Stone Cold Steve Austin's ass, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it wouldn't even be a fair fight.
It wouldn't. Oh my god! Literally, the Steve Austin, the Bionic Man, could literally pick up Stone Cold Steve Austin with his right arm and toss him about 3 miles into the air.
It would be a bad scene.
It would be very horrible for Steve Austin.
What would be the connection between lucid dreams and alien abductees? Like, is it a path to communication? Is that how they travel through different dimensions? Like, are there actually?
I think it's part of the litmus to see how you handle the abduction experience. That's what that all is about.
It's
just sorry.
No, he was just saying basically they're testing your ass, basically.
They're seeing how well you can handle the experience of being abducted.
Okay, so I mean, it's beyond that for me. It's like way beyond that.
Well, no, you think it's way beyond that, but they don't.
Well, when they're talking about
whatever they're doing, you're doing whatever you think's going on over here. They're just setting the situation up so they can observe.
No, this is different.
How would you know if they were setting it up? You would have no idea.
No, because it's like the feeling that I'm left with, like the way I
wouldn't have any idea. So put it this way: they could set up your whole life.
Feel, and I know the knowledge or like the information or whatever it was that I've learned through that dream has changed me somehow. Like, it's changed my perception.
Of course it is. All downloads change you. That's what downloads are meant to do. That's what downloads do. They change you. That's what they're there for. To help change you, however you get them. Whether it's walking down the street,
So
and you never
basically,
get
what
them
I've learned is that
fully.
I'm going to die soon.
No, you ain't gonna die soon. Only the good get to die young. Sorry for your chick. You'll be like 105. It's maybe 106.
So you saying I'm not a good person?
I just said the good die young. That's all I said. I didn't say anything else. You take it however you want to take it. You can see. You could say like, "Oh no, it's going to be 55 or something." You see what you did? You just went with it. So, see, well, yeah.
I
Aliens
told
tend to
myself
live
when I was
long lives.
10 years old, I've always known that I was going to be like over 100. Literally, I told myself I was going to be 117.
And you live in a society that can do it too.
Well, the reason being is because I knew back when I was like 9 or 10 years old that if I lived to be over 117, that would mean I'd live in 3 separate centuries: the 1900s, the 2000s, and the 2100s. And how cool that would be to be able to say by the time I didn't have any teeth and probably incapable of speaking at all.
Well, by then they'll have all kind of good things.
Yeah, you have replacement teeth. They'll be just like as good as the real ones.
Not if it's like what I'm seeing in my dreams. Like I'm going to be destitute. Like,
well, you see, by then there shouldn't be destitution.
So the one thing that a lot of people are afraid of is what will happen when revelation is made, when all the governments say, oh, by the way, we've been in contact with alien species for 50 years.
More like hundreds, probably.
Well, there will be a paradigm shift. There'll be a lot of people will freak out and panic, but it won't be as bad as everyone thinks. And then right after that, you won't have to worry about anything. Money will be non-existent. Fossil fuels will be non-existent.
So are you saying the homelessness epidemic will no longer be solved?
Precisely. Yeah. All of those things. Every woe and hurt on this planet will be, if not fixed, on the way to being fixed.
Well, the thing of it is, we're not that far out. So
yeah, we're not that far from it already.
If Russia, so Israel looks like they're going to stop fighting. If you get Russia to stop fighting, that means there's no war.
That's if Hamas takes the truce agreement.
So has there ever been a time without war?
Yes,
there always been in some kind of war?
There's been once or twice where we haven't been in any wars, but it's just. But now we're in a position where there's no big wars going on. Technology is really advanced. If people start to learn how to get along with each other, you'll start seeing a shift from building militaries to using that technology to build other things. Especially once we start getting into deep space. The more we get into space, the more we're going to quit wanting to screw around with what's going on here.
Just think about the possibilities once we start mining just the asteroid belt alone. I mean, just think about the technologies will advance.
It's going to be the new gold rush. That's what they. That's
it'll be way better than the gold rush. There's gold. There's antimony. There's aluminum out there. There's every mineral that we have on Earth is in that asteroid belt.
Plus, I bet you a few we've never heard of too.
Plus a few, maybe some that we have heard of that we just because the minerals on our planet are of a certain density, lesser dense materials that we know of that we can't get that readily are out there. Like iridium is a mineral we need. We don't have it on our planet. It's so not dense that it's out in the outer atmosphere or outer planets rather.
Or we found, I think, some rings of an asteroid or some shit one time. But that's the only thing I remember about that. Well, no, Carly. So as you're dreaming, more and more stuff is sewn into your dreams to help you to make it to the awakening. Is what they're doing. There comes a point where all abductees, which is what Leah is, has to go through the awakening period. Because if you don't go through the awakening period, you're just living in a constant turmoil of cases, things happening to you out of sequence and not actually knowing what the hell is going on. We tell people all the time, this can be used to your advantage in your life. It can actually seriously be used to your advantage, especially because all contactees or abductees are empathic and telepathic. It can really be used to their lives. And learning how to be empathic is an important thing.
So I don't feel special in any way. I definitely don't feel like I've been like a chosen, you know what I mean? I have a difficult life. I've had a difficult past. I don't really have any connections in the world. I don't have friends or family.
That'll be even better when you croak over and they take you off world. Oh, what happens if they take you and hook you up with a new mate?
What's that?
one of them ugly reptilians or some shit. Oh man, I didn't think about that.
Do you remember
yeah.
that dream I told you I had like a couple years back when I was in some giant like laboratory looking place and there was like a big circular metallic machine looking thing in front of me, and all of a sudden they had escorted over a big gray being and it took a step into me and I was like resisting it, and they're like, she's not under. They're like, oh well, it's done now. And then anyway, I get up and I look into this machine, into the reflective surface, and I did not look like myself. I had sharp teeth, and I had high cheekbones, and I had dark sunken in eyes, and I looked very, very like muscle bound, and I could tell I was a female, and my hair was like, I had hair. I was a humanoid, but I did not look like myself. I had different features, and those features frightened me.
Hybrid features. Well, a lot of people say the Greys got pointy ass, sharpy little teeth thingies. I've heard that too many times over the years. It kind of freaks me out a little bit.
No, these were tiny little sharp teeth. These were like sharp, but like jagged and like crowded. They were like overlapping and
smushed up against like shark teeth,
like reptilian teeth. Conical.
Conical
shape.
No, just jagged, and like some of them were sharp, like kind of vampiric.
Ooh.
It was a gaul.
Gaul.
Stop messing with your face, girl. Behave yourself.
Sorry, I have hair. I'm pulling out a chin hair.
Hey, nobody in the world wants to see that. Do y'all want to see that? Look, this guy's going. He's gonna come smack you.
It's what happens when I get nervous.
No reason to be nervous. Jay said he ain't gonna send no aliens to visit you.
It was just a little chin hair.
So most people, when they have these kind of dreams, it usually manifests its ways. These freaking dreams manifest in so many different ways, from star fighting to scaring the hell out of you to weird things standing next to you in brown Holocaust coats with red eyes.
That reminds me of my other dream.
Yeah, they just manifest themselves in a lot of ways. The Holocaust cloak thing is, well, I've heard of brown cloak, black cloak, either one or two beings. A lot of times it sounds a lot like good cop, bad cop, because one's kind of being nice and the other one's kind of be like, I'm going to eat you if you don't tell me what I want to know.
And don't forget, they're telepathic, so they know exactly what it is in your brain that scares the living shit out of you.
Dude,
and that's what you see.
That dream that I had when I was up on the rooftop and of a specific cafe, and there was a being there, and I called it out by name, and it was, what's the androgynous? I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman.
Yeah.
And it had very light skin, like almost white, and it had on a black cloak. It was like a black robe with a hood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it like floated down to the ground, like it just like matrixed itself down to the ground from the rooftop.
He's on some of that good LSD. That's all.
Me?
Not you. I was talking about the alien.
Yeah.
It affects them differently. It gives them superpowers. It's I often wondered sometimes how drugs would affect aliens on our world. It's one of those things that you just don't know.
Yeah, like the TV show and the movie Alien Nation. On Earth we can swim in the ocean in the salt water, and we can drink milk and be fine. However, the aliens in Alien Nation, if they swim in the ocean, they burn to death. It's because it's like hydrochloric acid to their body. And then if they drink curdled milk, it's like drinking a fifth of whiskey. They get drunker than hell.
I was watching this podcast. They were like, I watched a few segments of a couple different episodes on this podcast, and they were talking about how Jesus was on drugs. Like there was this like drug back in the day that they would do, and man, they went into some deep like conspiracy theory stuff. But like snake venom was one of them, some type of snake venom, and then something back in like the ancient Greek times that it was like called the purple. I don't know. They all had purple fingertips.
Oh, I'm not sure about that, but this is interesting. You said it was like drugs. Well, in ancient Egypt, what they paid the slaves with was beer, and what they found out in recent findings, I mean, very recent, they found some casks that used to store beer, and they tested whatever the residues were. The beer was used not only for payment and for services rendered as being a slave, but it was used as a food, as a reward, because you get buzzed off of it because of the alcohol. But it also had antibiotics in it, so it was also a medicine. So think about that. Not only is it a drug, alcohol, like a recreational drug to get high on, but it is also it's a medicine to cure what ails you.
That's one of the things, man. I mean,
So,
it's kind of weird out there in the world. Well, imagine if there's mold growth going in there. That's how the elephants found it.
Yeah, and to the other point, if actual aliens, their body chemistry is probably significantly different than ours, but still similar. So I don't know how would our drugs affect them. Probably some would, some wouldn't. Maybe none of them do.
Might not do.
You got a double presence in the green room here. Oh no. Is this the Halloween show?
I have come for you people. Run, you bitches, run.
At least you didn't repeat that line from that Rush song. We have assumed control. You might have lost a bunch of listeners for that one.
I know.
Oh my God, it's happening.
Well, Jimmy, I mean, so yeah, I know we got sidetracked. We do that sometimes. So abductions are weird because they start pre-birth. So when Leah was a tiny little egg of a thing, they took her mom. And they said, "Oh, look at this cute little egg. Well, look at these cute little spermy things," and they put her back. And then about a month, maybe 2 months before she was born, maybe 3, they took her and they checked out everything real good because they have the ability to actually take everything out and put it back. Checked out everything good, put it back, sent her down there. She's born. Probably waited a couple of days, took mom and her, Well, no, every time they took her, they had to take the mom. The mom was carrying her, dumbass. What kind of stupid question was that? I mean, really, dude. I mean, come on. They took her and left her mom. The mom would have been freaking out when she woke up with a flat stomach.
Where's the baby? Oh my God.
So something about my mom in particular, she passed away years ago. Her death was ruled a homicide, but that's a whole different story. But I remember she was the first person I ever told that I had, I guess you would call it a extraterrestrial experience. And years later, she came to me and told me something that I kind of connected the dots to her being an abductee at some point in her life, because when she was 12 years old, her mom took her into a doctor's appointment, and I guess it was a pelvic exam, and she had never had one of those before. Her mom, my grandma, was in the hospital or in the clinic room with her, and the doctor looked up at my grandma and said, "Who gave this child an abortion?" Because my mom was only 12. And my mom had no memory of anything. Like, she doesn't know. Like, she was telling me she was in tears. Like, she's like, I could tell it was something she had been holding in all of her life and probably self-medicating to try and forget. Maybe she really did forget. I don't know. But all I know is from the sounds of it, she had an abortion, and there were signs of an abortion, and nobody fessed up to it, but there was no explanation for it.
Well, there are several experiencers, abduction experiencers, who have documented medical history with their primary care physician or their gynecologist that they're pregnant, 2 months, 3 months, 6, 7 months pregnant. And I think the longest, the most mature was an 8 months pregnant woman. But they experience the baby goes away. It disappears completely. There, and then there's no external signs of there's no stretch marks. There's no, extended belly, no loose skin, which you would expect after a birth or even an abortion at a late term pregnancy. No evidence of that whatsoever, that there was pregnancy, except there is evidence internally that it appears to be an abortion. And they wonder what happened to the child.
Well, that sounds like that. See, that sounds more government to me, because we had 5,600 cases. So we inherited 2,000 cases from MUFON, and the rest we got from other places. But so this is what we got, and then y'all can think for whatever you want about it. This was about 30 different people working on this thing. Some from MUFON, some were eventually ICAR members. But anyway, we went through them all, and there's one thing in common with all of these. These were terminated somewhere around 3 or 4 months. All right, so that may explain some stuff. So they were pregnant, got tested, were pregnant. The blood test said they were pregnant. Some had amniocentesis, ultrasounds, and there was a baby there. 3 months, 3.5 months, there was no pregnancy. But it was worse than that. There was no sign of pregnancy. There was no hormone problems. The hormones were back in order. Everything inside was back in order. As far as anyone could tell, there was nothing at all. The doctors tried to say it was spontaneous abortion, meaning the body just absorbed it and everything reset. Well, even the doctors didn't believe that shit. But that's what they tried to explain it off as. But no one to this day, it was over 5,500 cases. And from what I understand, there's still cases going on even today, that these babies just simply disappeared. And as far as anyone knew, they had never been pregnant. And a lot of these women really wanted to go crazy because, frankly, they knew they were pregnant because they'd either had seen the ultrasound or had seen the blood test and were already, we're talking 3 months going on 4 months. You've already been to the doctor a few times. You're pregnant. And then there was no pregnancy. No.
You know what it sounds like we're
I
describing
can
there?
tell you about my dream, Joe.
Okay, I'm listening.
But I don't want to tell the whole world.
Oh, well, wait then. You're going to have to just catch me one afternoon when we get some free time to talk about that.
Well,
You can't be telling me.
So going back to what we were just saying, though, that
James
we're describing the Immaculate Conception, aren't we? Sounds exactly the same.
It is. And you see, that's hold on, let me put my can back on. So that's another thing. So in a lot of these women's cases, they were said that as far as they knew, they hadn't had sex to have had the baby. Now, not all of them. Some of them said, yeah, they had sex, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not going to get into all of that. But in all cases, in all 5,500 of these cases, it's probably more around 7,000 these days. But regardless, as far as anyone could tell, poof, there was no pregnancy. So there was a pregnancy, a documented pregnancy, very well documented pregnancy, and then, so blood types are one thing because blood tests are one thing because sometimes they can be wrong. They're not 2 or 3 times going to be wrong, but maybe once. But ultrasounds are never wrong. You can physically see the baby; they take pictures. So, and then it wasn't there, and that's what messed with the doctors more than anything. There was no scars on the ovaries. There was no attachment marks. There was nothing. Everything was pristine. And a lot of these women had never been pregnant before, so it looked like they had never been pregnant before. So, and I still have been in touch with some of these doctors over the years, and they're still like, Joe, what the hell? I said, dude, I wish I could give you an answer. Because even though most of these women identified as contactees or abductees down the line, I still could not tell you 100% that the aliens did it. I'd like to say they did, but I could not quite categorically tell you. The only thing that makes me think it's 100% aliens is the technology involved. I just don't think we, the people, had that, especially back in the early 90s. I just don't think we had that kind of technology. What's that, Marco? Oh, you mean whatchamacallit? What the hell? Yeah, when they would, what the hell they call it? When they mess with the cows, the cow abduction thing.
Cattle mutilation.
Cattle mutilation.
Yeah.
I don't know why I couldn't think of it right. Yeah, I did rewrite it. Oh yeah, I still catch flack for rewriting. I catch flack for rewriting better than anybody else because I have, what's this big? It's God Because I believe in research, and research simply suggested that cattle mutilations were not what we thought they were. Well, I mean, first off, if the alien was hungry, why put the cow back? And why put it back on the rancher's ranch? Why not dispose of it somewhere else? Because we know
because the rancher would not have collected insurance money for the mutilated cow.
Exactly. So I'll tell you, there's a few things, people, that is coincidental here. You can say whatever they are. One, in 95% of all the areas, including the 2 areas on the East Coast, on the east side of the Mississippi, where there were cattle mutilations, there had been nuclear weapons exploded nearby. Oh, yeah. And also had water tables. So the parts of the cow that was missing were where radiation would accumulate the fastest. These are just, coincidentals. Then also,
intestines.
So, and if you took the cow, the rancher would lose that $3,500. But if you left the cow, he could claim his insurance. Yeah, you could say some weird predator ate it or something. And they'd have
it doesn't matter what he says. The body's there. The evidence is there that the inspectors can come. Oh, yeah, you got a dead cow. Here's your check.
So I'm telling you now, no alien would even think about leaving it there. And then there's worse. There's more. There was also sled marks found at several of these locations. Sled marks are what helicopters leave when they land. And there had been helicopters seen in the area. But knowing that this looked like a way that the government was monitoring the water tables and the food tables, making sure that Leah was not getting irradiated with some kind of contaminated beef or something worse. That it was in the water tables or people in the school. Because look,
just in the ground in general, first time the grass that there has been nuclear devices set off nearby. Yeah. So they're making sure he's not accumulating any radiation for sure.
And this would not be the first time that our government's done something like this. Where?
Yeah, I mean, I've literally seen videos where people working at water towers, like water plant,
Hey, Jeff.
like take a pee in the water. They'll just drop trout and pee in the water and pee in everyone's water.
That's okay to do that.
But still, that's like a pretty big statement.
It is a statement, but thank God it's like 100 million gallons of water, so we don't have to worry about it too much. But
imagine
that
if
is
they
chlorine,
do that, and literally, like, they don't care if they're caught on CCTV.
You got to be careful nowadays because they will put you in jail. Like down here, things like that will get you up to 5 years. So all I can tell you, people, is be careful.
How easy it would be to drug a whole, population of people with.
They don't have to.
Whatever.
So they've been taking tests at waste facilities now for 2 decades.
Is there a way to test
LSD? Yeah, they test. They do. So they find LSD. They at one time the amount of not downers. Whatchamacallits? What the hell you call them? The ones that enhance your moods.
Stimulants.
Yeah, well, no, not stimulants. Things like Vicodin and not Vicodin.
Vicodin is an NSAID.
No, not it's a what the hell? No, not the opioids. Even though they did find a lot of opioids like Percocet and Vicodin and all that in there, but no, these are like Xanax and stuff like that.
Yeah,
mood enhancers,
antidepressants.
The amount they had found in places like Los Angeles and in New York, they said if you were drinking the water, you were getting loaded.
Yeah, you're talking about the drugs for ADHD and anxiety, OCD, those kind of drugs.
But
mood stabilizers.
They love giving out them Xanax and all them.
Yeah, but you take too many of the mood stabilizers and you get pretty high off of them.
But there was so much of it in the water that it was ridiculous. LA actually had to do something about it. They were saying you could drink the water down there and get high.
Wow. Well, you remember back in the 80s, Joe, they did a test on American paper money, and 90% of it was covered with cocaine, meaning that most of the United States was snorting coke through their dollars. And the most common dollar was $20 bill for that, by the way.
I wonder why is it? Yeah, methamphetamines. Thank you, Joe Fox.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's people. There's a lot of that out there. It's supposedly getting better, but we'll see. We'll be talking on that. But I don't think aliens give a shit about any of that. Aliens, they take you, like I said, pre-birth. And while you're a kid and they're taking you, because sometimes they're taking you when they come pick up your mom or your dad or both, and you're on board the ship, but you are on a different. Nothing's being done to you. You're just on board the ship. You might be with other kids or other alien kids, whatever. You're just being a kid basically. Because you'd be surprised how many of these kids say my bug-eyed friends, my reptilian friends, stuff like that. They go in detail about them, even the alien ones. So they're enjoying themselves. It's not until puberty hits, depending on when puberty hits, 12, 13, 14, 15, depending on the individual, that things change. And that's when they start doing all kind of experiments, taking off body parts, putting them back on, stressing the brain, stressing the body, breeding experiments, things along those lines. Guys, be grateful because there are far fewer of y'all being tortured than women. It's about a third of abductees are men, maybe a little bit more, but not much. It's about 30, 35% are men. The rest are females, yes.
Yeah, they don't need that many men.
Because Earth girls are easy, Jack. That's why.
Well, the reason they don't need that many men, Joe, is not because Earth girls are easy, which is also true, but men can produce children until the day they die.
Shut
so
up.
they only need a few men for sperm, and each time you produce sperm, it's like 500 million per. So they only need a few dudes.
Yes.
You can't say once you have 500 million sperm, what are you gonna do? You can't. With 500 million women, are they abducting that many women per, specimen?
1.5 billion.
Well, don't a bunch of them die right as soon as they get spurted out?
No.
Sperm can actually live outside of the vagina for 3 to 5 days, and inside the vagina for 4 to 7.
Oh.
Ladies, be careful when you're sitting in chairs.
That's not
okay.
true.
This show just went to an R-rated show.
It has to be the right environment. Even if it's inside of your mouth, it's considered a different temperature and too hostile of an environment for it to survive. Even though it's wet, but because it's wet, it can last a little longer. It has to be wet, and it has to be the right temperature for it to survive. It can't be so-called hostile environment, or they'll die.
The poor little babies are getting killed. I'm not talking nothing with these two. I'm just moving on now. Anyway, Joe Fox over here. What the hell are you retards talking about over here?
The life cycle of a sperm.
They look like little aliens if you see them under a microscope. So I'm just saying.
Here it is. Lifespan of sperm after ejaculation depends on circumstances. Ejaculated sperm remain viable for several days within the female reproductive tract. Fertilization is possible as long as the sperm remain alive, up to 5 days. There it is. They can also be frozen, by the way.
In the right environment, though.
Yeah, it did say that. So, yeah, that is true.
Like, you can't just, come on a pillow and then it stays alive for 5 days.
Oh, I'm going to throw both of y'all out of here. It's, what's that, Jack? No, I'm throwing both their asses out of here. I know. There's little children listening to this show.
Sorry.
I know. They're going, Mommy, what are they talking about? I hope they're not going,
Jay started it.
We should have. I did, and we probably should have retro titled this "The Birds and the Bees." But how did we know?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yes, I hear you, Joe. Yeah, I feel your pain, my friend. It's I feel your pain. It got nothing to do with aliens, people. I'm sorry. Don't get on their two asses. Don't get
Joe's over there.
Please, and if you write, be sure when you write to Michelle. Wait a minute, now let me finish. When y'all be sure, when y'all write to Michelle, you blame these two, okay? Don't be blaming me.
Joe's over there trying to figure out how to connect it to aliens. He's like, they look
actually, it's not that hard to connect it to aliens because of what we were talking about. But when you talk about everything pre-birth moving forward, and I would imagine they go through and select the ones they want to start off with. They're probably like, well, if that's Bob, throw Bob away. If that Henry looks really rough, throw Henry away. Oh God, that swim must have killed that bastard. Throw him away. I imagine that they would probably pick and choose what they want, especially if they plan on changing anything in us. I don't know, Jack. I don't feel that the Greys so much are giving us their DNA as they are other things.
What does it mean to be a hybrid? Like, what does it mean to be specifically a Pleiadian hybrid?
Well, what is a Pleiadian to you?
some a being from a different star system, or like
Okay,
it's
but what kind of being? Is it some ugly little reptilian thing? Is it
in
like
my
a
head? I always
toy?
pictured a gray.
Well, allegedly the Pleiadians, or sometimes they call themselves the Pleharans. Also, are they the same ones? I think they call themselves the Anunnaki, or we call them the Anunnaki anyway.
Yeah, they call them the Victorians, the Anunnakis, and the human type aliens.
So a hybrid of that species and human would be like something around at least 50-50 DNA splice, 60-40, 70-30, something like that, would be a hybrid species.
Unless we're closer related than we know, and then that'll be different. Well, Jack, if all three, if the reptilians, grays, and humans are actually from this solar system through the 3 planets that have died, then we'll be much closer related than we want to talk about. Yeah,
but here's the thing about that. Here's the thing about that in genetics. If they're able to meld their DNA with ours, it means one of two things. Either they grew up on a planet very similar to Earth on a very similar historical path, with the same basic chemicals and elements we have on this Earth, or it means DNA is globally universal. So you could be a squid and go to a planet full of, marmutes and breed with them. So it's one or the other. They either went along a directly parallel evolutionary path and can meld their DNA with ours, or DNA is universal across the board.
So Pleiades is in the Andromedan galaxy, right? Or is it part of our galaxy?
No, it's in our galaxy.
It's in our galaxy.
But we can see Andromeda from a telescope.
Yeah, you can see Andromeda with the naked eye if you know.
Yeah, Andromeda looks like a big star.
That's what I was told. Andromeda.
Wait, you broke up when you said that. Say that again.
That's what I was told. Oh, years and years back. Andromedan hybrid, not Pleiadian. Andromedan.
Well, I mean, they could be, but I would imagine anything coming from the Andromeda galaxy, probably the only thing that could get here would be the light beams. I don't know if anybody else could get here. It's a good billion light years away. It might even be more than a billion, because we're going to collide into it sooner or later. It's just a matter of time. It's sometime
we won't be alive probably, but our
we
species might still be around.
Yeah, it'll be about a billion
years. Is it possible? Like, did somebody just blow smoke up my butt?
Probably somebody blew smoke up your butt, because as far as I know, I mean, that's a long ways away. That'd be a really, really, really advanced species.
I think the Bibliotheca Pleiades database online has a list of aliens, and they might have somebody called the Andromedans, but I don't think they're from the Andromeda galaxy.
Yeah, mostly the only thing I could see coming from the Andromeda galaxy at this point would be light beams, and I don't think that's where they originated from. So Andromeda will meet them soon enough, somewhere along the line. By the time we get there, we'll already have the technology to reach there. So we'll start exploring which planets are going to hit what, how we're going to intermeld. Can Earth survive the merging of the two galaxies? Yeah. So yes, Carl, Earth can survive if it depends where it comes in at. It depends what's around it. There's stuff coming in our solar system.
So much space in between each astral body that nothing could collide, but there's still melding into one.
Well, as long as we stay connected with our sun, we can go anywhere as long as there's nothing around us.
Does that mean that it would just be more planets in the star system and then just like 2 suns?
No. Well, you may have more than So no, the Andromeda is just a galaxy about twice the size of ours, Jay? Maybe 3 times the size.
I think it's about the similar size. I mean, the data.
No, it's bigger. It's bigger.
It may be a little bigger, but they're on a direct path with it, so it doesn't matter whether it's bigger or smaller. We're gonna hit it.
No, it matters because one eats one and one survives.
Yeah, the bigger one is going to eat. If it's bigger, it's going to eat our galaxy.
Yeah, so we're eating a couple of them right now, but this one's going to eat us. I forgot.
I realized not too long ago, actually, Matt kind of helped open my eyes. I have no idea how to comprehend how large the actual galaxy really is.
Okay, I can help you with that. Our galaxy currently give or take 100,000 light years or so, is 160 million light years across. It's so it's big. It used to only be 100,000 light years. Now it's 160,000, but it's big. So if you put that in perspective, that would be like going to the moon 160 million times.
I'm going to make a confession. I didn't realize that the solar system was just a tiny little speck inside of a galaxy.
It's an oasis inside the galaxy.
Yeah, I thought that it was the galaxy.
No, the galaxy is much bigger than that. So what's great about this is, so this tells you something that's unique, or not unique, that's common about the universe itself. So when you look at everything looks like a hurricane in space. Everything's spinning just like a hurricane is. Mm-hmm. So Earth is spinning on its axis, then it's also spinning around the sun. Our sun, though, is actually traveling, around these massive black holes, the massive black hole in the center of our galaxy. But wait, it's worse than that. We're not just going in a big circle or an elliptical. We're actually going up and down while we're doing it. Now, remember, the galaxy is full of shit.
Yeah.
So you never know what the hell we're riding through until,
Well, even if we don't run into something physical, like a giant ball of ice or another planet, a rogue planet, we could go through a vein or a zone of high radiation, which could sterilize the planet. And by sterilize, I mean that it will never have life again. That's how bad it would be. So
what it looks like, because Jay's got a good point there. So what it looks like, what is there? 5 great extinctions now? 5, 6, 5.
4 or 5 of them at least. Yeah.
There's only been about 800 million years of life on Earth. We'll even say 1 billion, but people hate when I say 1 billion because they don't like that number. But anyway, we'll say 1 billion just to piss people off.
Potentially up to 1 billion at least.
So 1 billion years. So that would be an extinction every 200 million years. So what it sounds like is
we're overdue.
Maybe it's not asteroids that hit us. Maybe there's a zone that Earth passed through every so often that just wipes everything out on 2/3 of the planet.
Like going through a microwave.
Or like the Fantastic Four. That's in the Fantastic Four in the comic. It's the Van Allen belt. They weren't sure what it was, and so the story was these 4 astronauts go up. They hit the Van Allen belt. It radiates the cabin, and then they each get their different powers: the Thing, Invisible Girl, Human Torch, and Mr. Fantastic. But that's not what happens when we hit this type of zone. It either sterilizes the planet or kills 90% of what's on it.
So it's just saying, it is weird that we've had this many extinction events, and it doesn't look like they're all related to asteroids or comets.
Well,
Yucatan Peninsula was a big hit, guys, but when you look at it, I've done.
There's also, what did the Hopi say? There's like one was by fire, one was by water, another one would be by one was by earthquakes.
And we do know there was a great flood on a planet because some of the mountains have fish remnants up way high. So at one time they were underwater.
There's a whole beach of coarse beach at Lake Titicaca with creatures from the sea. Lake Titicaca is the world's highest freshwater lake.
Sorry, I only think of Beavis and Butthead when I hear that name.
But I mean, you got a freshwater lake with saltwater fossils. How is that possible? That means there was a huge flood. A lot of water from the sea splashed up there.
It's like
there's no other way to explain it.
Oh, that's impossible. And then I said, well, have you ever driven from West Texas all the way across to California? I said all of that was underwater at one time. All of that. There used to be a big Salt Lake Ocean right smack in the middle of our country. I said, it always bothers me when I'm driving through there. I'm all of a sudden I might be looking. I'm in my little car underwater with some big whale eating my ass. It's weird, people. It's when you driving through that whole area out there, pretty much all of New Mexico, chunk of Arizona, and Nevada, that was all underwater. Yeah, parts of Colorado, all of that was. That's the planet's changed a lot. Every time we get blamed for something as a race, I have to step back and think: is this the first time this has happened on our planet? And a friend of mine says, "Well," he goes, "Well, this is probably the first time we've ever been hot." I said, "Oh no!" I said, "During the dinosaur era, it was much hotter than it is now.
Yeah,
the oxygen content was much higher." Yeah. I said,
more trees."
I said, people always say, "Oh, that carbon's going to kill everything." No, actually, it makes things grow faster. So, and it does raise temperatures, but it also makes things lusher. So, it's not like it's the end of the world as they want you to believe it. And by the way, in case y'all didn't know this would not be the first time that all the ice had been melted on the planet. I didn't know that either. I recently found that out a couple of years ago. So, yes, there's been ice ages. There's been complete withdrawals of ice. Well, during the dinosaur era, they're pretty sure there was no ice anywhere. I don't know. And then we know from the sunken cities, we keep finding that there must have been a lot of ice at one time because there was no water anywhere.
I'm sure there's lots more cities underwater that are so lost to time we'll never find them. We'll never recover them again. But here's something that'll blow everyone's mind too. Not only I lost my track. What did you just say? What was the last thing you were just saying, Joe?
Oh, about the cities, the underwater cities.
Oh yeah, okay. So no, I lost it.
That happens. Hey, sometimes it just happens.
I had a great point about the Earth, and now it'll come to me. It'll come to me.
No, Jack. Actually, we're going to get back to what it is to be an abductee. So we left off with before somebody got into the what conversation. We left off somewhere around puberty and moving up from there. So a lot of those experiments, will contain different types of sex experiments, but a lot of them are going to contain a lot of stress mentally and physically. They like to stress humans to see what they can take mentally. They like to stress humans to see what they can take physically. They like to see how we heal, how we look at things. Well, like this, for an example. So a woman was laying in a bed praying to Jesus because she had just been taken. So the Greys removed her eyes and turned them around and faced them back towards her and said, see if he'll fix this for you. So that tells you something about the Greys right off the bat. They have a little bit of a temper and are a little bit vindictive.
Yeah, that is kind of a dick move.
And then they've removed spinal stuff and fixed stuff and took stuff away. And they've cured people with stage 4 cancer, and they seem to have caused problems with other people.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you why. But we do know, like with the reptilians, humans, and the Greys, sometimes like a human alien may be with a particular group of families for 1 million years or more. Same things with the reptilians and human, even longer with the Greys.
Well, I mean, it could be as simple as they're so advanced that the medical issues we have now as a species, they haven't encountered in billions of years, and so they're studying them again, so that maybe this is a key to helping us keep our bodies longer or live longer, or
I think
achieve more immortality if they haven't already.
I think that could be true, and I also think that they're preparing us for something else.
The great beyond.
Well, I mean, they're making us smarter, brighter, and faster. So here's a question for y'all. I can understand pumping up the brains. I can understand pumping up a lot of things. But why don't we all look like geeks?
Well,
instead of, no, that's not what I mean, though. I mean, if they're engineering and there's no wars in space or anything like that, then you don't need people built like a lot of us on the planet. We should all look like Leah. Little skinny things.
Who would want that?
It's well, what I mean is that most of the guys should be around 150, maybe 5'10" or something. Anything more than that, unless you're going to war, is kind of a waste of time. Or if you're not going to have athletes and stuff like that.
Being large in war isn't also necessarily a good thing either.
Oh no, it isn't. But it is for a lot of things.
The bigger you are, the easier of a target you are. I mean, think about if you went to war with giants versus humans. Who would be easier to hit with a gun? Giants, because they're huge.
But a person is a little bit larger and went to school, he's going to be more self-confident about a lot of things. He's not going to have been bullied. He's probably going to have gone hunting. Death isn't going to mess with him like it's going to mess with other kind of person. It's a different kind of upbringing. But that's what I'm saying. If none of that other stuff is going on, then we don't really need that upbringing. So obviously, the universe isn't quite as stable as we've been all led to believe.
Mm-hmm.
You guys,
maybe it's a little rougher out there than things. What's up, Chicky?
I have to run.
Run. Okay. Don't
Thank you
trip
for
or
having
nothing.
me on tonight.
Get out of here. We'll talk at you later.
Okay, have a good night, you guys.
Be good.
Thanks.
Bye.
It's
See ya.
house boom bam crash. It's that was Leah Dunbar, people, in case you don't know who that was. Yes. She's better known as the Street. Yes. Yeah, if you ever listen to the song, you know what I'm talking about. Booger there, fastest thing on 2 feet. No, we're gonna get out of here in a few minutes, but we only managed to get to. Well, if y'all want to go edit and shit and put it together, that's fine by me. I'll post it out, but no, I'm too lazy to edit stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like work to me.
No. But no, I mean, really and truly, when you hit about 14, 15, that's when it starts. And it goes all the way up through about 28. They'll also, though,
Well, the real abductions begin at the beginning of the reproduction cycle, because that seems to be what they're interested in. Is
yeah. So, well, you can't say that because real abductions happen pre-birth and go on through all the way of life.
Right, but I mean, it seems like the focus of whatever they're doing is really the reproductive years.
So,
because after a while they stop taking the women. When the women can't have children anymore, they're not as interested. They may still take them every once in a while, but not as frequently.
So yeah, so what they do is you got your first stage, which is the kids, and then you got the puberty stage, which is about the 28. So after that, there's a couple of things that changes. One, a lot of contactees in general, or abductees in general, just will be dropped from the program. Now their kids won't be. If they have kids or grandkids, they'll still be being taken, but those people will no longer be because they're no longer useful to the breeding project, or they don't have the things that they're looking for the breeding project,
or simply they got what they needed out of them. Is basically what it boils down to.
And well, the Greys, all of the races, but yeah, well, all the races really. Once you hit about 35, if you're not moving towards being part of what they're doing, they really don't want to bother with you anymore. They want everybody over 40 to really be moving in the direction they're moving, being part of the program, working with the kids on board the ships, working with the other people on board the ships, out telling people that, hey, look, it's not what you think it is. We're not here to eat everybody, stuff like that. They just, they need them to be out there. If you're not useful to them, and I hate to say it that way, then they no longer need to take you anymore. And that generally somewhere around 33 to 35, they'll just drop you. You won't have any more contact. Your kids will, and your grandkids will, and maybe even your wife will or your husband will, depending on the usefulness. Because not everybody wants to be part of the program. Not everybody wants to watch what happens to people. Because remember, you're there working with a group. So you may be like 45 or 50 or 55, and you may have a group of contactees in their mid-20s that are going through different processes. Well, you're there and you're going to see that. So now you actually know what happened to you, even though you've probably been told before now, but you're going to actually see it and experience it yourself. So it takes a certain type of individual. They just don't want, Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, I guess is what I'm trying to say. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. That was bad. I'm bad Joe. What's that, Jackie? You mean, I could tell you, to be totally honest with you, I would not be able to tell you what political interests our alien friends have.
Yeah, they seem to be all over the place with that. But how about this? So correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my experience that most of the abductee experiencers who miss the abduction experience once they're dropped from the program, as you say, generally tend to be female who's looked at those experiences as usually positive, and usually have been shown one or two hybrid children that they've helped be a part of making. They feel the most left out, but guys don't seem to really give a crap one way or the other.
Well, mainly because guys don't remember as much. And if they drop a female who's had hybrids or have been around the children, then it's because that female made a mistake somewhere, because that's what they want. They want the people. You got to remember, they're taking in a lot of people. I don't think people understand how big this program actually is. It's
what, $1 billion a year, $1.5 billion a year?
It may be more than that. I don't know. I mean, all we know for sure is,
as the population has grown, the amount of people they've taken, or the amount of people they do take, has grown.
Yeah, all we know for sure is 15% of the population has been taken. Are they still being taken? I doubt. doubt it. Are they all being taken at the same time? I doubt it. But Alfred Weber did this on a show, and this was like 14 years ago. He did this, and he did the math while we were live, and of course, it came out to 1.45 billion. I started getting phone calls, emails. I'm telling you, the Australian scientific community wrote a whole article. No, not just an article, a whole section on me. It was like 10 pages, dude. It was insane on the reason this could not have happened. And I'm thinking to myself, well, we got somebody's interest, didn't we?
Wow.
I was actually ecstatic. So they wrote to me and said, if you'd like to rebut, I said, oh, I've already started writing it. And I wrote a good one too. And it's, as far as I know, it's still probably available even today. It was a great thing. But I mean, I got a lot of emails from a lot of people for a long time. Because, oh, Joe, it's impossible. 1.5 billion. I said, well, first off, we didn't say 1.5 billion people were being taken right now, but out of that, probably half of them are still being taken, and how they scatter them out, how they break them out. It just tells you that the presence here and the presence in space is much larger than we realize.
Wow. So 15% of 6 billion, I don't know how it just took 6 billion.
Yeah, we're at 8 billion now.
Well, okay, so it's more, but 15% of 6 billion is 900 million.
Yeah.
Almost a billion.
Yeah. So it's outrageous, and it's been nonstop ever since that original article was posted. What was that, Jackie? Alfred Weber. Yeah. Alfred Weber was the science advisor for Jimmy Carter. Actually, he worked with the science advisors before Jimmy Carter. Yes. That man's brilliant. He's crazy as a loon, but he's brilliant. No, but he did the math, and that's what he did. And I don't know what figures he was using from where, because I doubt the population was over about 6 billion, because it's maybe 7, but no, it's probably around 6 when he did it. But regardless, we got so much stuff came out. It's still up there today. It's way buried back now, but you can still run across this shit online today. 1.5 billion alien abductions. Oh yeah, man.
Well, at 15, I just did the math. 15% of 8 billion is 1,200 million.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
1.2 billion. So that's about what you just said. 1.5.
Yeah. What do you mean? I have no idea. I wasn't doing the math. Alfred, we should have to ask him where he came up with that number. Oh, it made me get insane. I wish you would have never said anything. Oh, I spent a year fighting about that. Well, because people just think, oh, well, they're no way, they're just taking everybody. But when you hear people talk about these ships they keep parked out around Jupiter and Saturn, these things are huge. They're bigger than our moon. No, they can't bring them any closer because it would do harm to our planet.
There's no evidence that suggests our moon isn't a spaceship.
Yeah, that's true too.
It's in a perfect orbit. It's in an orbit that's basically impossible. It's in an orbit that is mathematically precise to blot out the sun for a total solar eclipse.
Oh, I don't know, Glenn, but it's no. These things are probably 2 or 3 times the size of the moon, because from what I understand, if they were even to get close to our planet, you could actually feel a tidal change. It would actually cause a tug on the planet. That's how big they are. That's why they call them motherships. Well, you remember there was 4 or 3 spotted out by the sun. 3 different cameras got pictures of these things, and NASA tried to say it was a flare on the camera, and then they tried to say it was a lens on the other camera, but it was 3 different cameras that caught them. I don't know what they looked like. Borg cubes. There was 3 of them. That's what it looked like. And then one of the other probes caught this thing parked on the other side. I think it was not Io, Titan. Which looked about 4 times. It looked about 4 times the size of Titan. It was huge, whatever it was.
What about the ships they shown coming out of the sun? Have you seen that video?
Yeah, and actually, that's what a lot of people thought those 3 big black things were a gate that allows things to come in and out the sun.
Well, I don't think so. I think they're just hiding in there or gathering energy.
They might be.
Fissionable energy in there.
But Jack, they did have that big portal hole thing in the sun just recently. Yeah, it was big. Yeah, Earth could have fit in it like 5 times. I doubt it was like a spaceship portal, unless the spaceship size of a freaking planet.
Yeah.
Well, whatever it is, there's a lot of weird stuff going on out there. There's a lot of stuff to keep up with. No, next week we're gonna work our way through the abductions, because I really want you to get into the abduction thing. Because when we talk about contactees, which is different, contactees first off are fully and functionally aware that this is going on, and there's different layers of being a contactee. That's what Jay and I were just alluding to.
So maybe we should define it for the audience. A contactee is one who's awake during contact with alien species. An abductee usually is not. And even if they are unaware in most cases.
And even if they are awake, they're not allowed to remember anything. Now, contactees are fully functionally aware of what's going on. Well, they might put them in a block for a minute or two if they're doing something, moving them around or something. But usually, contactees are aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
No, they're not allowed to remember everything either, because they see some things that is not allowed to be talked about here. But
they might have been taken forward or backward in time, and learn.
There's no loop in memories of the contact. So when we talk about contactees, there's the contactees, there's the keepers, there's the communicators. There's about 5 levels of a contactee, or 6, where that you're doing different things for the extraterrestrials, and in turn they're doing stuff for you as well. Actually, so it's kind of weird, but
it's like on V, the friends of V, the humans that help the reptilians, integrate to human society, that kind of deal.
So no, we got to go in about 2 minutes here, but well, that's basically what they're doing. I mean, they're helping you help yourself. Well, if you look at keepers and communicators, most of the communicators, even if they're just speaking in tour, they're usually making a pretty good living. And they usually have a better understanding about how the world works. Well, okay, Johnny, real fast. We're going to talk about this next week, but not everybody thinks they're here to save us like the green world, or the great new green deal, or that they're here to eat us and kill us and barbecue us like the other great new barbecued world. So,
well, we don't know that all of those things aren't happening as well. It could be a combination of many of those. The verdict is still not in.
What do you mean? I don't worry about it. I'm too high in cholesterol. They don't want to eat me, man. Jesus. I'm about to get somebody a heart attack. Now, Jay's little skinny ass. That's different.
I'm not skinny.
Jay is lean, baby. They'd be like, ooh.
I'm not. I keep gaining weight. I'm at 190 pounds, and I should be like
damn fat ass.
No. I weigh as much as a 6 foot tall person. I'm only 5'9".
That's that, Frank. No, we got to go. Well, we get sidetracked, and we're helping out a friend of ours to get through some problems, so we've been letting her come work it out with y'all on the air with us. I know. Well, it's a good thing. It helps. We break concentration sometimes, but it's a good thing. Well,
especially when we're hungry, we'll break towards food.
Well, everybody needs a friend, and everybody, it's what we're here for. But there's a lot of information to go through. And remember, when we're talking about most of this, we're only giving you the surface stuff. Because frankly, some of this shit, if I was to tell y'all, y'all may never listen to the radio ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's some stuff that goes on that you can only call horrific. There's no other way to describe it. Oh, no, there's no other way to describe it. Well, though, remember this. It is one of the reasons why they wipe your memory for the most part. So you don't remember things like that. Yes. Well, you heard what I just said about the one taking its eyes out and turning around and looking at the person with him? It gets far more sadistic than that, my friend. Oh, yeah. But anyway, we got to go. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio, UFO Undercover, Roku, which is in some invisible channel somewhere, which we're still fighting about which channel it's actually on.
It's Afrocentric on there right now.
It's look, people, all guys. Oh no, it's there. I said no, it's not. He's like, no, it's here. I'm like, well, I need a damn thing. It tells me exactly what it is, so I can tell everybody else. And y'all can write to him and bitch if y'all don't mind. Also, we are on Rumble TV, which was acting a little squirrely tonight, but y'all can watch us on Rumble, and of course, YouTube and SoundCloud. We will be back on the regular YouTube page starting Friday. We'll be down to just one strike because somebody got us a strike, and we're not going to mention any names. Jenny, did I say that out loud? Shit. Well, YouTube bites sometimes, people. I mean, really, some of the stuff we get strikes for is just They gave us a strike one time for medical information when it had nothing to do. We quoted Fauci word for word. I even sent them the article, and they were still like, "No, it's against our regulations. The government doesn't agree." I'm like, "The government is telling you it does agree." You just gotta wonder sometimes. But on that note, y'all should go check out The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. They are over there rocking and rolling. I heard they were doing some bad stuff tonight. Yes. Something about early Halloween or something. I don't know, giving away candy.
Yum.
Ooh, that's what I'm saying. No, good night, everybody. Jay and I will see you Friday. Oh, no. Oh, no. Before we go, because somebody sent me this. For anybody who's a Kamala Harris fan, please close your ears. This is for somebody who sent us this. This will actually be on, along with some Trump stuff, will actually be on the show on Friday. So the super PAC, Kamala Harris not leading a single battleground state in new polls. So, but it's worse than that, because her super PACs came out and said that it's not a rosy picture like the media is painting, and it looks bad. These are the people who give her money. So we don't usually talk politics on here, but I wanted, because the truth doesn't get out a lot. I don't have anything on Trump tonight, or I would tell you. Oh, yeah. Let me tell you what. When I say we're equal opportunity haters, we really are. Yeah. Trump's been down low lately for some reason. He's been like ducking and shit. I don't know. It's not the regular Trump. I guess that bullet's got him kind of.
He's bobbing and weaving, man. Whatever they're throwing at him, sticks to them, you know?
It's been a little crazy for him lately. No, but this Friday, we always do the polls on Friday night, and APC, which is mine, American Poll Company, has its new poll out this week, and y'all can go check. It's already finished, so y'all will see it tomorrow night. It's pretty good poll. I like it because so far, since we've had it, it's predicted pretty much both the House. So real quick for y'all, when they said it was a blue wave, and I said no, it's not going to be. Our company said it wasn't. When they said it was a red wave, I said no, it's not going to be. Our company predicted the last three presidents. So it's pretty good, because first off, we don't use a poll smaller than 10,000, and we try to get them in areas where it's at least like 30% or 35% Republican, Democrat, Independent. Yeah, we try to get it as fair as we can get it, because we want a real poll. We want to know what the country's really thinking about. Not some made up. I'm not going to use any networks names, but some made up bullshit poll. Anyway, on that note, good night, and stay tuned, or not stay tuned. Go jump on board the Outer Realm. And people, it's getting close now. It's getting close to Halloween. How far are we away? Let's see. We only got 9 days left in this month. So September, October. Ooh, just 69 days. Halloween. I'm sorry. On that note, I'll see y'all Friday night. Good night, everybody.